If you look at a modern firearm today, it is a masterpiece of precision engineering. It has machined steel barrels, polymer frames, and optical sights designed to launch metallic cartridges with absolute accuracy. It is a symbol of mechanical efficiency, industrial power, and lethal utility. But if you trace the family tree of the gun all the way back to its very first ancestor, you will find a highly ironic, bizarre historical accident. The gun was not invented by generals, warriors, or weaponsmiths. It was invented by ancient priests who were looking for a way to live forever. So, how did humanity go from trying to discover the elixir of life to inventing the most destructive weapon on the planet? The story begins in China during the Tang Dynasty, around the 9th century. At the time, Taoist alchemists were obsessed with finding the secret to immortality. They spent their days inside dark workshops, mixing various minerals, salts, and organic compounds, heating them over open fires, and hoping to stumble onto the elixir of life. One afternoon, a group of alchemists mixed sulfur, charcoal, and potassium nitrate, commonly known as saltpeter. They heated the black powder, expecting a miracle. Instead, it exploded, singing their beards and burning down their workshop. The alchemists quickly realized they hadn't found the secret to eternal life, but they had found something highly energetic. They called the black mixture huoyao, which literally translates to fire medicine. At first, they used this fire medicine for peaceful purposes, making colorful fireworks to scare off evil spirits during festivals. But as the dynasties shifted and wars broke out, the military quickly realized that fire medicine could be used to scare off something far more physical: enemy soldiers. By the 10th century, the first primitive gun was born. It was called the fire lance. It was not a modern metal gun. It was a hollow bamboo tube stuffed full of gunpowder, sand, and sharp iron shards, which was then lashed to the end of a long wooden spear. A soldier would run toward the enemy, light a fuse at the back of the bamboo tube, and spray a roaring jet of fire, sparks, and shrapnel directly into the faces of the opposing army. It was essentially a spicy, single-use Roman candle strapped to a spear. It didn't have much range, and it couldn't penetrate armor, but the loud noise, bright flash, and sudden spray of fire were terrifying to enemy soldiers and horses. But bamboo is fragile. If you put too much gunpowder inside, the tube bursts, blowing off the fingers of the person holding it. By the late 13th century, during the Yuan dynasty, weaponsmiths made a massive leap forward. They replaced the fragile bamboo tube with cast bronze and iron. This led to the hand cannon, the world's first true gun. Instead of spraying loose sand and sparks, these heavy metal tubes used the explosive force of gunpowder to launch a single, snug-fitting stone or iron ball through the barrel. The oldest surviving gun on Earth, the Heilongjiang hand cannon, dates back to 1288. It was a heavy, awkward bronze tube that had to be lit with a handheld match, but it worked. The physical principle of the gun was complete, using chemical energy to launch a projectile through a tube. Through the Mongol conquest and trade along the Silk Road, this new technology spread rapidly to the Islamic world and eventually into Europe in the 14th century. And Europe had a unique, highly advanced technology that was perfectly suited for making bigger guns: church bell casting. For centuries, European blacksmiths had been refining the art of pouring molten bronze into giant molds to make massive, heavy church bells. When the knowledge of gunpowder arrived, they realized they could use the exact same casting techniques to make massive tubes of destruction. They literally took the technology used to call people to prayer and turned it into the heavy siege cannon. And once cannons and handguns entered the European battlefield, they completely leveled the playing field of human society. Before guns, warfare was dominated by the wealthy elite. A medieval knight had to spend his entire life training, purchasing expensive suits of heavy armor, and maintaining war horses. A peasant standing in a field stood absolutely no chance against him. But a gun changed everything. A simple peasant could be trained to load, aim, and fire a matchlock gun in just a single week. And that peasant standing in the mud could pull a trigger and instantly end the life of a knight who had spent 30 years preparing for battle. The gun democratized violence, shattered the feudal class system, and permanently reshaped the map of the world. We tend to view technology as a straight, logical path of progress, designed with clear intentions. But the history of the gun is a reminder that human curiosity is highly unpredictable. The alchemists wanted to defeat death, but they ended up creating its ultimate instrument. The next time you see a modern firearm, remember that its core technology didn't start in an armory or a factory. It started in a quiet workshop over 1,000 years ago, with a group of dusty alchemists who mixed the wrong ingredients, burned down their house, and accidentally changed the world forever.